Welcome to the Psych Gym. I'm your trainer, Vanessa Perry, a former mental health therapist turned intuitive counselor. Much like a physical gym, in this space we'll aim to target specific psychological muscles and train them to be stronger. I'm so glad you are joining this gym. Let's hit the weights. Hello, and welcome back to the Psych Gym. I'm your host, Vanessa Perry. And today we are talking about something that has been on my mind lately. I mean, don't I say that every episode? Everything's on my mind all the time, if we're being honest. And I do have a few topics to cover in the coming weeks that were suggested by others, but I really just wanted to get this one out right now while it felt relevant. I love the relevancy. It makes it easier for me to put these things together, right? Because I'm writing these scripts to stay on task, and sometimes if it's something that's happened a long time ago, it's a little bit more difficult for me to get into it. So little something about my process. You didn't ask for it, but you got it. So what are we talking about? Anyway, we are going to talk about the integration of selves. Yes, we're using a plural. The parts of us that seem to be fragments because our society is obsessed with labels and being able to categorize us. Right? Like we need to be very easy to understand with some labels. Just a couple though, not too many. We feel like we have to pick one of those fragments, one of those selves, and be it so that we make sense. I mean, this isn't really my opinion, but I definitely see it enough to feel like that happens a lot. And then when I sit down with people, we do talk about that. We talk about it as identity, and it's a little bit deeper than that. It's a lot deeper than that. But for some of us, me for sure, I really just don't have one or two dimensions to me. Like there's multiple. Like I'm a jock and I'm spiritual. I have some hood in me, but also the country. I'm a high achiever, but I also aim to work the least amount possible to do so, right? These are what? How could you be all these things? I am extroverted online, but I really love my quietness at home sometimes, of just having it be our little bubble, whoever we allow in our bubble, and not having it be like just a lot. And I'm a major lover girl, but I will cut you if I need to. Right? These things shouldn't make sense in one person if you think about how we use labels and how we talk about identity. The world often tells us to pick a lane, to choose one version and stick with it. But real sense of self, it comes when you don't force yourself into one box, when you integrate all of those identities, the things that you feel like might be identities, into one kick-ass, multidimensional, unapologetic self. So a lot of us grew up believing that this true self that we need to find, there's just one. That there's just one self and it stays stagnant forever once you find it. Doesn't that sound awful when you hear it said that way? Or is that just me and my air sign feeling jailed by literally anything that feels like it's not movable? Our personalities are shaped by our environment, our relationships, culture, and experiences, and sometimes also trauma. But that's a whole other podcast, episode 26 to be exact. The version of you that learned discipline in sports, that's a real part. The version that learned street smarts, real part. The version that found peace in meditation, also real. Problems start when we feel like these parts contradict each other, or when we think we have to hide one to validate or strengthen another. This is usually, to try to belong. Right? Like I think that sometimes some of us, myself included, for some time, it felt like if you didn't pick one thing, then you didn't truly belong somewhere. And it took me a really long time to feel like, oh, or you belong in lots of places, which is very exciting. More opportunity sounds great. Each of these parts, though, is truly valuable to the whole self. And that's what I aim to help you understand today, is to go back and get those pieces of you and value them and show them off, embody them, see where it takes you. So let's go ahead and we're going to make the example of me. This is familiar territory. I have no problem letting you know certain things as long as they're not giving information about other people who don't want their information out there. But me, here's mine. I have that jock side, right? I have discipline in learning how to do things, how to move my body. I worked really hard to try to, be a better shot in hockey, skating, things like that. I am competitive in some ways. I love a physical challenge. This is, with my workouts and other sports that I've tried to play. And I will fight someone if they touch my goalie or my sister. That's my jock side. I also have a deeply spiritual side. I meditate. I try to astral travel. I have jumped timelines before, and I continue to do those meditations. I do yoga. I contemplate energies and soul contracts. I speak with psychics. I talk about energy healing and have many people in my circle that do energy healing. To some people, these two parts of me might seem like opposites, but in reality, I don't even know what to tell you. They both exist. They're both very real. And my connections in each world, the people and the energy, they are deep. I have deep connections with each of these. And this is just two parts of me, right? Do they coexist in the same space? Not often. I mean, sometimes on the bench, I do have to do some visualization or breathing exercises if I fuck something up and I need to recenter, which happens quite often, if I'm being honest. But the fundamentals of both are really great for other parts of my life. The discipline to learn how to go bar down, which is like 1 in every 500 shots probably, helps me remember that repetition of meditations are sometimes needed to nail the energy, right? So I had the discipline to repeatedly shoot a shot to try to perfect it. Same with meditations, right? That works in both worlds. And that spiritual time, man, that helps me all the time. The spiritual side of me, I mean, it helps me deal with death, with my mistakes, with impatience. I mean, I'm working on that continually, but it does help. By stepping out of this humanness, the 3D part of it, to see that bigger picture, to see the spiritual picture of it. Integration isn't about toning down parts of us or even always about mixing them up together. It's about each part existing in whatever bigness it does in your life, accepting and honoring that. This is what we're trying to do here. I have had many clients who say that it feels fake to be a professional and then be like somewhat wild on the weekends. I mean, that was me too, but I know I'm not alone in it. I've heard it as people grow also, feeling that it means they can't still be some of what they were before. But here's the thing. These are not contradictions. They're dimensions. I'm going to say it a lot of times so that you can understand that two things that don't seem the same are not always a contradiction, especially if they're parts of you that you honor and parts of you that have, been created. They're there for a reason. The secure self doesn't apologize for being able to switch it up depending on the environment or energy. You are not a fraud for being adaptable. Yeah, I know your brain is going to go to that whole idea that you're faking it if you're adapting to the group you're in. It's a fucking lie, y'all. It just is. The only way it's fake is if you feel that it is inauthentic and is a mask based on social anxiety or something else that isn't your core sense of self. That's your check-in. So if you feel like you're adapting, you just feel like, hey, these are my sports people, right? In June, when I was sitting on the bench with men for the first time in a long time, there was like all the ribbing and things like that. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot how to do this because I haven't been playing hockey, but here I am in this element and I love it. And this part of me gets to come out and play. It's not inauthentic. I'm not playing a role. I'm saying, oh yeah, like, oh yes, Jock Vanessa gets to come out. Not just Jock Vanessa, but like men's league. Yes, here we go. This is fun. So like to kind of put it even more simply, think about music. If you have a playlist that's only one genre, it can get boring. So let's not be boring ass playlists. It's going to be like the thing that sticks in people's heads, which will be really great. I love it when my voice says some weird things in my clients' heads where they're like, yeah, that's what replays in my mind in your voice. So if that happens, let it be, don't be a boring ass playlist. So let's talk about how to like do this, right? We're talking around it. Let's talk about doing it. Integrating those parts of you that you may have separated or abandoned or shoved down because you felt like they were not valid. We're going to name them. So in IFS, internal family systems, they do parts work. I don't necessarily do that. I dip in and out of certain things that make sense for me and my practice, but I'm not an IFS person. So when I say name the parts, we can do it however we want to. We don't have to do it the way that they do it. So we can write down the different versions of you, things that you feel, labels that you feel like you do identify with. Multiple of them: the parent, the athlete, the flirt, the healer, the rebel, the hood rat. That's just me. Give them nicknames if you want. I have been using my middle name to describe the unhinged version of me. Those of you who know my middle name, you know how funny that actually is. The next thing you're going to do is write about what each part gives you. What is the role of it in your life? What skills, what strength, what fun, what situations does it shine in? Maybe even why did it become a thing? How did it get here? What was the point of this part of me showing up? And it makes us just be a little bit more intentional about how we see these parts. Notice things that maybe overlap, like I was doing before with, how the jock and the spiritual side of me, we have some things in common that become core pieces of me that maybe shine in different dimensions and different parts of me as well. Both your lover girl and your corporate side value loyalty. It just comes out differently. So that's what we're talking about here, because we're just trying to get to know our parts. We want to be able to understand them so that we're celebrating them properly and we feel like we can own them. So lastly, we're going to let them out. I can hear T.I.'s bring them out when I wrote that. And I love that song. But what you're going to do is start letting yourself show parts of you that you have been afraid will make people treat you differently. You can start by just talking about them. One of the most powerful things about talk therapy is that the power trauma has over you gradually recedes the more you talk about it, and nothing bad happens. We have to have proof that it's okay. And you can't get proof by continuing to hide, right? Like, there definitely has to be some exposure in order for that to feel safe. I know for me, this was super difficult as a therapist with an online presence. I was terrified that if anyone knew I used to dance on bar tops, and probably still will, that it would discredit me in my profession. But I'm good at what I do. And that has nothing to do with me not in my professional space. And it helps people realize that you can be both. I see myself as a social norms disruptor. I love the idea of showing up and saying, well, sorry, but that's not a thing. I love being an example of freedom, truly, my self-theme. I love to show up that way and say, I don't know what to tell you. I'm valid. You probably are too if you want to own all of your parts. So what's the payoff? Why should I do this, Vanessa? What's the point of this? When you integrate, you stop living with like that internal like turf war, right? You, like the parts that want to just own you. You walk into every room and you don't have to think about which me do I need to be right now. You just know that you're always all of you. And if you oscillate a little bit, it can actually be fun. Being dynamic is amazing. Truly. It's fun once you get secure with it. I can understand that there's probably people right now listening saying, this does not sound fun. This sounds horrifying. This sounds like exposure and vulnerability that makes people be able to hurt me. But listen, you can't hurt somebody who feels really solid in themselves, right? If somebody comes up to me and says, you are not a real spiritual person because you will punch somebody in the face on the ice if they touch your sister, I am going to say, that does not matter to me. I don't need your approval to be spiritual. I know about my spiritual connection and I know about how it works for me. That is all I need to know, actually. Don't need your permission to be calling myself spiritual, right? Thanks. So that's security. That is authenticity. And ironically, when you stop trying to fit into a mold, people connect with you more because humans trust wholeness and authenticity. Even if it's messy and even if it's complex, people can feel your authentic energy. Not one person that I have connected with in any of the worlds that don't go together, my worlds, has ever felt that I wasn't being real. Nobody's ever called me fake because I was and I am those things. I am a hockey player. I'm a little ghetto still. I'm highly spiritual. I'm a mom. I'm a creative. I'm a multiple genre music lover. I am all of those things. Cool, right? Like, I want you to be able to say that. When I say that stuff, I'm like, yeah, like it makes me feel good. You can't hurt me with those things. There's other things you can hurt me with. Absolutely. I'm not a perfect human and there's plenty of things for me to work on. But this integration of self thing has changed my life completely. And that's why I'm talking about it with you. I want you to believe in that. And I want you to feel like you're willing to take even the tiniest steps forward to feel that way, to feel that security and that beautiful authenticity. So if you've been feeling like you need to pick a version of yourself, don't do it. Instead, I give you permission, right? Instead, think about how beautiful it is that you are able to bring forth beautiful multiplicity. Feel confident that all of your selves are valid and have something wonderful to give to the world. Truly, y'all, it feels amazing. I have never felt more free in my life, and I want that for everyone. Screaming from the rooftops. So that's it for today. Thank you for listening to the Psych Gym. If you found this helpful, share it with someone who maybe is trying to reconcile their different sides. And remember, the strongest people aren't the ones who hide. They're the ones who integrate and be authentic, right? And if that's what we're asking of ourselves, then we can definitely work on that by doing some of the things that you heard here. So as always, take care of yourselves, and thank you for letting me be your guide today. Love y'all. Thanks for listening. To learn more about what I do and how to work with me, head to thepsychgym.com to check it out. Keep lifting, y'all. It's worth it.